Perpetual Paswani, and my husband and I together run a ministry by the grace of God called Love, Faith, and Passion. So today, your girl, myself, has got you because I'm sharing 5 things you can do to position yourself well for marriage. Yes, I know some of us, we don't want to talk about it like we want it, but we want to know what to do. So here I am at your service. We're going to talk about these things, and I'm so excited because I know that somebody will be helped. See you on the other side. So, if you have been in the circles I have walked in, the church circles, you will realize that positioning, especially in my set apart family, is a big deal. So basically, we're talking about how you can place yourself well for something, to be seen, all those things. So today I'm going to share those things. Like for me, 5 things that worked for me. One of the things that you need to do, even as you position yourself well for marriage, is to know your self-worth. Yes, I said it. Know your self-worth. And I believe that self-worth is birthed from a place of having a relationship with God our Father. You know, it's so much an issue of an identity than it is anything else. And I believe that when you know your self-worth, automatically certain guys are not even up for consideration. They are just not up for consideration. I remember praying to God, like when I was now at this place, I was like, okay, Lord, I'm not going to just do anything anymore. I'm not going to try and figure relationships out. One of the things I told God, and this was inspired by Mom Maureen Shana, my mother in the faith, mother in the faith. So basically, you could say grandmother, but she's mother. She said that at some point in her life, she prayed that no man who had no purpose in her life should come close to her. So I made that prayer as well. I said, Lord, if anybody is not for me, they should not come close to me, and I should not be attracted to them. And I believe that it is that prayer that sparked a journey for me to be able to walk with God to a place where I started to know myself. Like, it's not like guys wouldn't come my way, but I just knew that this is not even up for discussion. Whether you're a pastor, whether you're serving at church, if God hadn't approved, I wasn't going to do it. I remember very well somebody coming to me and saying, God told me you're my wife. And I said, no, God did not tell me I am your wife. And I believe that it's not so much about me, but the fact that I had come to an awakening of who I was in God and where God wanted me to go, what God wanted me to do in that season and for the future to come. So your self-worth will automatically cut certain people off. It won't even be a matter of discussion. You just know within your inner man that this is not it. Number 2, one of the things that you need to do to position yourself well for marriage is not to be desperate. Guys can smell desperation from a mile away, unfortunately. And you know, you shouldn't parade yourself so much in front of the guys, especially when you're looking for a relationship, because that actually puts the guys off, the ones that could actually come to you. And I remember just, you know, thinking to myself, you know, maybe I could do something. Maybe I should be a certain way. And I remember the Lord speaking to me and saying, the only desperate thing that you need right now in your life is the presence of God. Like the only thing you need desperately, rather, is the presence of God. So sis, do not be desperate, because when you are desperate, you actually push the men away. Desperation looks a lot different for different people, but most of the times it's you trying so hard to keep the conversation. It's you trying so hard to see what does he like, what doesn't he like. He hasn't even said anything to you really, but you're doing all the background information, trying to serve, you know, doing favors, and he's just like, no girl, don't do that, go away right now. Number 3, be open-minded. Yes, you should have your standards. I've come to realize that most of the times when we make these lists of the sort of man that we want, we put up features more than character traits. You know, you want a tall, dark, and handsome man. But is it really tall, dark, and handsome you want? You know, like I have come to realize that you are better off seeking a man of character than a just good-looking body. You know, character, honesty, integrity, you know, his relationship with God. Those are the things that should move you. And in as much as you have all these desires for the things you want, you should leave room for God to be able to minister to you, for God to be able to give you his best for you. Because most of the times these lists limit people from actually receiving from God. Because I could give you what you want, but would that be sustainable with where I am sending you? So like, I love what one man of God says. He says there are a lot of tall, dark, and handsome thieves out there, serial killers. They are there. So when you are looking for those things, is that all you want, or there is more you want? And you have to be honest with yourselves, because sometimes you say that you want a godly man because you saw someone praying a certain way, or because you saw that pastor prays like that, he sings like that. So you are now building some sort of idea of what your husband should be based on another woman's husband. So you should be open-minded to what God would do and what God can do when you let him lead you in that area of your life. Number four, I love it so much. You should have a healthy understanding of what marriage is and what it entails. Most of the times, people do not want the reality of the marriage, but just the idea. You know, him and I could be good together, we could raise a family, and that's all they bring into the union. And now when they see the reality of marriage, they start complaining. You know, again, I will refer to one man of God who said that the number of divorces should not really worry us. It's actually an indication that without God, we cannot do marriage as well. And I agree 100%. You see, having a healthy understanding of what marriage and what marriage is and what it entails will allow for us to go in marriage fully equipped. So you're not just looking for highlights, but you're looking for the whole experience. You know, beyond the wedding day, you know, beyond a beautiful dress and nice tax and nice venue, what is your understanding of marriage? How do you relate with submission? How do you, honestly, when you sit with yourself, what do you think about submission? Do you think that it's just a man stepping all over you, or you think that there is more to it? Because you see, the only way we're going to do marriage well is when we are doing it God's way, nobody else's way. So when you have a healthy understanding of marriage, you're not going there with bats. You're not going there. I was telling the people, my mentees, that see, you need to have a healthy understanding of what submission is and understand what it truly means in God's terms, so that when you're married, you're not arguing with everyone about submission. In fact, I believe that the reason that there's so much teaching to women about marriage is because you're the one who says yes. You can say nobody teaches the men, but they propose and you endorse. So if you're going to endorse, who are you endorsing as someone you will submit to? Please marry well, say yes well, so that you're not now fighting with everyone who says submission is a good thing, because for sure it bears so many beautiful fruits. And yes, it is a powerful thing. It is not an issue of suppressing you. It is not even an issue of bringing you down and breaking you apart. And number 5, even as we come to our conclusion, be interesting. Be interesting as an individual. You know, like, I know this one, I put it last because I wanted the heavy stuff to come first. Be interesting, you know, like if you feel that the Lord has led you towards a certain guy and, you know, he's the one, you know, I believe that you should be interesting. Of course, don't be creepy. Like, don't just then start stalking the guy. But be interesting, be able to hold a conversation if he speaks to you, you know. Find things to do, like even as you wait, build on yourself. What can you add to your life that will bring value to this guy's life if he says we should do this thing together? You know, don't be rigid, you know, look good, dress well. And I put this last again because it's not the most important thing. You know, dress well, smell good. It's not holy to smell sweaty all the time. You know, dress well with the little you have, look good. I remember one funny story. My husband said that he was not sure if he could talk to me because I looked like I was high maintenance. And interestingly, that season of my life, I believe that I didn't even have much, but I made sure that when I dressed up good. If I bought my shoes from the thrift store, aka Sally's, I was going to make them look so good. So he thought that, ish, this girl, yes, I like her, but she's high maintenance. She looks like a lot of work in terms of taking care of her. But it's because I was just simply taking care of myself. And for me, my love for perfume, my love for good clothes, it's evolved through the seasons. Of course, now I can afford some of my things I like, but then I really couldn't. So I had to make do with what I had. And interesting is one of the things that came up even for us. So be interesting, you know. Don't scare the guys. You could be anointed, you could be the one, but he's now thinking, no, with how she's looking, how far, you know. So just invest in yourself, you know, mentally get to a certain place where you can hold a solid conversation. Some of us, our husbands live on BBC, so you have to know what's going on. I remember like at some point I used to be scared of escalators, and I remember Mom Paswani that time in setup, she was like, you know, if you want a man of a certain caliber, you have to go and practice at the hotel. How do we enter in those swinging doors, you know? Like, which way do you go? How do I get on the escalator? And I remember me and my friends went and practiced on the escalator. And it was interesting because I think on our first date, we had to get on one of those. So just be interesting, invest in yourself. And I wish you so well. I hope that this video helps somebody. Position yourself well so that you don't end up with anybody just because they are a man. You don't end up with anybody just because they're in church. You don't end up with anybody because they have a title, but you have things that are grounding you and leading the direction of which you're going to go with anybody. Remember, you have the power because the yes that allows for the wedding day, the engagement day, and everything else to follow through comes from you. So you have the power. I love you so much. See you in the next video.